starve to death in those downturn periods, though.
You can.
Which now would be one of them.
But I'm so glad you set me up on that argument, because real Republicans and people that believe in personal responsibility do not care if a Social Security check comes to my house, because I will have enough money to buy the bread and pay the power bill with.
If you took a vote today, the entire United States, what percentage of people do you think would not vote to continue Social Security?
Oh, well, that's because we've built generation after generation of freeloader.
It's about the 6%. About the 6% that lives in the Florida Panhandle.
Yeah. Well,
would be all you'd get.
You know what?
And a couple people in Arizona.
If and scientific research on this, and then, ladies and gentlemen, we'll get on to some other stuff here. If you give somebody a house and you feed someone
like we've
food,
just done with AIG.
If you give someone a house and you feed somebody food, they will never develop any desire to have anything else. They'll lay there, knock the window frames out to burn in the fireplace to stay warm.
Which is what we're seeing Wall Street executives do at the moment, because we're giving them a lot of money.
Exactly. Look, you and I talked about this before. I used to have a distaste in my mouth for the low-income welfare class in the United States of America. I now have a definite, huge distaste for the multi-millionaires that keep stepping up to the plate, i.e., the government cheese award, the Bill Pullman property, the Griswold property, on and on and on. These guys are millionaires that are racking the system to make more, and they ought to be ashamed of themselves, to be quite honest with you. I do know this, that God keeps very good records, and when they get to Judgment Day, might be a little tough on them.
I'm a little more concerned about the here and now, to be honest with you.
Well, Deborah, one topic, and ladies and gentlemen, not too often do you find me in favor of government programs or government entities. But the DCA...
Speaking of the need for regulation over greedy people...
Yes, the DCA is...
This is the Department of Community Affairs at State of Florida.
Right, and just to give you in a nutshell, on your larger scale projects, Jubilee, things of that nature, development, beach development, high-rise condominium, stuff that have regional impact.
Correct.
All of this has to go through the DCA, and like I said,
they have to approve it.
I am no fan of big government, but the DCA has proven through the years that they do somewhat listen to what the citizens say. We actually watch them. Deborah watched this a lot closer than I did, but we actually watched them step in and hold down the densities on Perdido Key. They
were the only thing that prevented Perdido Key from being built up.
And they looked over the Jubilee project very close. I think they should have pushed a little bit more on that, but actually, technically, they were just getting to the stage where they would have any real power to stop that. We had played little games locally here and give tentative approval and all that. Of course, all of that is now washed away, and it's down in Coldwater Creek now, and millions of dollars thrown away and things of that nature. But DCA is very important, and ladies and gentlemen, there is a push at the state level now, and if you have access to any of your state reps or your state senators, don't take our word for it. We want you to hop on the internet and do a little study for yourself.
Because every major newspaper in Florida, except of course the Pensacola News Journal, has reported on this.
Right. You're not getting anything out of the Pensacola
What's
News Journal.
happening is developers and other building interests are trying to get rid of DCA.
Right.
And DCA comes up for sunset review this year. If legislators don't vote it in to continue to exist, it will disappear, and they'll take its functions and they'll disperse its functions and get rid of a lot of its functions.
Right.
And of course, big developers would love that.
Yeah.
Because they like to build all over the beaches and have stormwater run into your basement or into your garage and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and I'll give you here's a real life for you, ladies and gentlemen. you've built your dream home and you're over there, and you and the 6 or 8 people that are around you, or you're just so happy, and you have nice neighbors, and at a 6 to a 8-inch elevation above you, a 200 house subdivision goes in that is considered regional impact. And in a short period of time, you watch your azaleas wash down to the creek because they're not controlling the stormwater runoff on that subdivision. That's where the DCA comes in and makes sure that stormwater's handled. It's their job to look over the community impact. I mean, that's the whole purpose of it.
And you get to pay for the roads and the schools and all the other stuff that all that new housing occasions a need for. You get to pay for it.
They look at all of those impacts. So you know, Deborah and I are certainly in unison on this one. The DCA potentially maybe needs to be streamlined a little bit, and potentially maybe needs to be a little more reactive to a citizen's complaint. But we believe that they should be there. Now, we've had a little controversy of late over some dumps, so C&D pits. So let's update everybody. We actually have one new C&D pit that has been approved.
Yes, north of Highway 90 in East Milton.
Okay, north of Highway 90. That one is there. That one is going to happen.
Yes.
No amount of howling is going to
stop.
Now you went to the City of Milton meeting chambers.
Right.
You found out that
this was a State Department of Environmental Protection.
State DEP was having a hearing, so let's take a minute or two and talk about that.
Well, this is another dump owned by Suncoast Concrete that's going to potentially go in south of Highway 90 and east of 87. And there was concern that there are some utility wellheads in there, and that there's obviously with a C&D dump, a construction and demolition materials dump, there's concern that that could somehow impact drinking water. There's a big aquifer that's located right in that area, and so they had some neighbors, and they also had a representative of one of the water utilities in there, asking them, basically petitioning them not to allow the permit for this dump. And we don't know yet what the judge decided. This was just yesterday that the hearing happened this week. It looks like it's going to be a couple of weeks before we know.
Right. Well, here is my #1 problem with C&D pits. If we passed a law in Santa Rosa County that said C&D pits or garbage pits can no longer be used as a for-profit mechanism for out-of-the-county garbage, I would be okay with another C&D pit coming in here. There is a profit motivation here. The Coyote landfill, which turned into a horrible, horrible mess, we were told that after Hurricane Ivan, it was estimated some $240 million they made in 1 year after the hurricane. So there is a tremendous amount of dollars to be made, and I just have some serious misgivings about having any additional C&D pits.
And we'll continue this discussion in our next episode.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jerry Cooey.
I'm Deborah Nelson.
And you found us at MediaCom Channel 27. Tell your friends and neighbors, and we'll see you next week.